respected. If the person you loved has moved on while you are still waking up every morning with a heart that feels broken, listen to me carefully. Their new life is not proof that you lost. Their happiness is not proof that you were not enough. Sometimes the greatest heartbreak of your life is the doorway into the strongest version of yourself. There is a moment after a breakup when the world gets strangely quiet. You look at your phone hoping for a message that probably is not coming. You remember the conversations, the promises, the places you went together, and you start asking yourself the question that hurts the most. How could they move on so easily when I am still trying to figure out how to breathe without them? And then one day you see them moving forward. Maybe they are with somebody else. Maybe they look happy. Maybe they are posting pictures, laughing, traveling, living as though your relationship never existed. And that can crush you because your mind starts telling you a story. They replaced me. They forgot me. They found somebody better. I must not have meant that much. But let me tell you something that can change the way you see this entire situation. You are looking at their chapter and comparing it to your wound. You do not know what is happening inside their heart. You do not know whether that smile is peace or distraction. You do not know whether that relationship will last a month or a lifetime. And most importantly, you do not need to know. Because healing begins when you stop making their life the measurement of your worth. There was a woman who once told me that after her relationship ended, she spent months checking her ex's social media. Every picture became evidence against herself. If he smiled, she thought he was happier without her. If he went somewhere beautiful, she wondered why he never took her there. When he eventually appeared with another woman, she felt completely destroyed. But one day she asked herself a powerful question. Why am I studying somebody else's life while neglecting my own? That question changed everything. She stopped checking. She stopped searching for clues. She stopped asking mutual friends what he was doing. And at first, it felt terrible. Because when you have been emotionally attached to somebody, letting go does not feel like freedom in the beginning. It feels like withdrawal. But she kept going. She started waking up earlier. She started taking care of herself. She returned to goals she had abandoned. She spent time with people who genuinely loved her. She began rebuilding the confidence she had slowly handed over to another person, and months later she realized something. She wasn't waiting for him anymore. She was waiting for herself. Now, that's what heartbreak can teach you if you allow it. Sometimes you don't lose a person. Sometimes you lose the version of yourself that became dependent on that person for validation. And now you have an opportunity to find yourself again. Listen, when somebody moves on, your first instinct may be to prove something. You want them to regret leaving. You want them to see you looking better. You want them to wonder why they ever let you go. But healing is not about making your ex jealous. Healing is reaching the point where you genuinely don't care whether they notice your transformation. That's freedom. Because if you improve your life only so they can see it, they are still controlling you. You changed your clothes for them. You changed your body for them. You changed your lifestyle for them. You built success for them. And even though they are gone, they are still living rent-free in your mind. No, your next chapter cannot be about revenge. It has to be about restoration. You have to look in the mirror and say, I love somebody deeply, and it ended, it hurt me, it changed me, but it will not destroy me. Because heartbreak is not the end of your story. It is an invitation to become somebody you could not have become while everything was comfortable. Think about the strongest people you know. Most of them did not become strong because life was easy. They became strong because life demanded something from them. It demanded courage. It demanded patience. It demanded that they get back up when nobody was coming to pick them up. And maybe that's what this season is demanding from you. Maybe this pain is asking you to stop chasing closure from somebody who already gave you an answer through their actions. Maybe it is asking you to stop replaying the last conversation. Maybe it is asking you to stop wondering who they are with. Maybe it is asking you to stop blaming yourself for something that required two people to make work. You cannot heal while constantly reopening the wound. Every time you check their page, you reopen it. Every time you ask someone about them, you reopen it. Every time you imagine them happier without you, you reopen it. So protect your peace. You don't need to hate them. You don't need to wish them pain. You don't even need to stop caring overnight. You simply need to stop abandoning yourself because somebody else chose to leave. That is where your healing begins. And understand this, somebody moving on quickly does not mean they healed quickly. Sometimes people move into another relationship because they don't know how to sit alone with themselves. Sometimes people run towards somebody new because silence forces them to confront what they lost. But whether they are happy or unhappy is no longer your assignment. Your assignment is you, your health, your peace, your purpose, your future, the people who love you, the dreams you stopped pursuing, the confidence you lost, the life that is still waiting for you. There is a version of you on the other side of this heartbreak that will look back one day and say, I thought that person was the end of my happiness. I didn't realize they were the beginning of my awakening. So cry if you need to cry. Grieve what you lost. Miss them if you miss them. But don't confuse missing somebody with needing them back. You can love someone and still understand that they are not meant to walk into your next chapter. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is accept that the door closed without standing outside it begging for another chance. Your life is bigger than one relationship. Your identity is bigger than somebody else's decision. And your future is bigger than your past. Right now, you may not believe that. That's okay. You don't have to believe it yet. You just have to keep moving one day at a time, one morning at a time, one decision at a time. Because eventually, the person who broke your heart will become a memory instead of a mission. And when that happens, you will understand that the real victory was never getting them back. The real victory was getting yourself back. Now, let me tell you where the real healing begins. It begins when you stop asking, why wasn't I enough for them? And start asking, why did I ever make their choice the definition of my value? Because that question changes everything. You see, heartbreak has a way of making you forget who you were before the relationship. You start measuring yourself through somebody else's eyes. If they loved you, you felt valuable. If they ignored you, you felt worthless. If they stayed, you felt chosen. If they left, you felt rejected. But your value cannot be controlled by somebody else's ability to recognize it. Let me say that again. Your value cannot be controlled by somebody else's ability to recognize it. A diamond does not become worthless because somebody chooses not to buy it. A beautiful house does not become a bad house because one person decides they don't want to live there. And you do not become less valuable because somebody decided they wanted a different life. Sometimes people leave good people. Sometimes people walk away from love. Sometimes people don't know how to appreciate what they have until it is gone. And sometimes two people can love each other and still not be right for each other's future. That doesn't make you a failure. It makes you human. One of the hardest lessons after heartbreak is understanding that closure doesn't always come from the person who hurt you. You may want an explanation. You may want them to sit down and tell you exactly why they changed. You may want them to admit that they hurt you. You may want them to say, I made a mistake. But what if they never say it? What if you wait 6 months, a year, 5 years, and the apology never comes? Are you going to give them that much control over the rest of your life? No. At some point, you have to give yourself closure. You have to say, it happened. It hurt. I didn't deserve everything that happened to me, but I refuse to spend the rest of my life demanding an explanation from someone who is no longer participating in my life. That is maturity. And maturity doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop allowing your feelings to make every decision for you. There will be mornings when you wake up and suddenly remember them. There will be songs that bring everything back. There will be places you avoid because you remember sitting there together. There will be nights when you wish you could call them just to hear their voice. Don't be ashamed of that. Healing is not a straight line. Some days you will feel strong. Other days you will feel like you are back at the beginning. But you're not back at the beginning. You are simply having a hard day. There is a difference. Don't judge your entire healing journey based on one emotional moment. If you fall apart tonight, it doesn't erase the strength you showed yesterday. If you miss them today, it doesn't mean you should go back tomorrow. If you cry, it doesn't mean you're weak. It means you cared. And there is nothing weak about having loved deeply. But now you have to learn how to love yourself deeply too. That means creating boundaries. It means deleting the number if you need to. It means unfollowing them. It means refusing to ask mutual friends about their life. It means removing the photographs that keep you emotionally trapped. It means understanding that sometimes peace requires distance. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to make a dramatic speech. You don't need to post something saying, I'm finally moving on. Just move quietly, peacefully, and let your life speak for you. Because there is something powerful about becoming unavailable to the things that destroy your peace. And listen carefully. Don't confuse loneliness with love. That's one of the biggest mistakes people make after a breakup. You feel alone, so you think you need them. You miss physical affection, so you think you need them. You miss having somebody to talk to at night, so you think you need them. But sometimes you don't miss the person. You miss the comfort. You miss the routine. You miss the feeling of being wanted. And those things can be rebuilt without returning to somebody who hurt you. You can create a new routine. You can build new friendships. You can discover new passions. You can learn to enjoy your own company. And eventually, being alone will stop feeling like punishment. It will start feeling like peace. There is a season in your life where you need to be alone long enough to hear your own thoughts again. Not because you're giving up on love, because you're rebuilding the person who will someday enter a healthier love. Don't rush into another relationship just because your ex found somebody else. Their timeline is not your timeline. You are not in a race. This isn't a competition. You don't have to find somebody new to prove that you are desirable. You don't have to make your ex jealous. You don't need another person's attention to prove that you have healed. Heal because you deserve peace. Heal because your future deserves a better version of you. Heal because there are people you haven't met yet who deserve to meet you whole, not wounded and desperate for validation. And most importantly, heal because you owe yourself the life you almost lost trying to hold on to somebody else. Think about all the energy you gave that relationship, the calls, the conversations, the planning, the worrying, the arguing, the forgiving, the hoping, the waiting. Now imagine taking all that energy and putting it into yourself. Imagine waking up every morning and saying, today I'm going to become stronger. Imagine putting that energy into your career, your body, your confidence, your family, your faith, your dreams, your purpose. Imagine becoming so focused on building your future that your past no longer has enough room to control your mind. That's the transformation. And don't wait until you feel motivated. Start while you're still hurting. Get up while your heart is heavy. Go for the walk while you still want to stay in bed. Take care of yourself while you still feel broken. Work on your goals while you still miss them, because sometimes action comes before healing. You don't always feel better and then start living. Sometimes you start living and slowly you begin to feel better. That's how you take your power back. You don't take it back by making your ex regret losing you. You take it back by becoming someone you respect. That's the goal, not revenge. Respect. You want to look at yourself in the mirror and know that even when somebody broke your heart, you didn't break your standards. Even when somebody left, you didn't leave yourself. Even when somebody chose another path, you chose your future. And one day something beautiful is going to happen. You will think about them and feel nothing but gratitude for the lesson. Not because what happened was good, but because you became good at living without it. You will realize that the person you were begging to stay could never give you what you needed. And the person you were terrified of losing was never supposed to cost you your peace. That's when you know you've healed. Not when you forget their name, but when their name no longer controls your emotions. Not when you stop remembering, but when remembering stops hurting. Not when you stop believing in love, but when you realize that losing one person did not mean losing your chance at love. Your story is still being written, and this chapter may be painful, but it is not the final chapter. You are still here. And as long as you are still here, there is still something beautiful ahead of you. Now you have to understand the final piece of healing. You have to stop waiting for the past to become different. That's one of the hardest things to accept. You can replay the relationship 1,000 times in your mind. You can imagine different conversations. You can think about what you should have said, what they should have done, what could have happened if one decision had been different. But none of that changes what happened. And every minute you spend trying to rewrite yesterday is a minute you are stealing from tomorrow. Made their choice. Maybe it was the right choice for them. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe they regret it someday. Maybe they never do. But none of those possibilities should determine what you do next, because your healing cannot depend on whether they come back. That's the trap. You tell yourself, I'll finally be okay when they realize what they lost. No, you will finally be okay when you realize what you have. You, your life, your future, your ability to begin again. There is something powerful about reaching the point where you no longer need somebody who left you to validate the fact that you were worth loving. You stop asking, do they miss me? You start asking, am I proud of the person I'm becoming? You stop wondering, will they come back? You start wondering, where am I going next? You stop checking whether they are happy. You start building your own happiness. That's when your life changes. And let me tell you something about rebuilding. Don't try to rebuild your entire life in one day. You don't need a dramatic transformation. You need small victories. Get out of bed, make your bed, take a shower, eat something healthy, go outside, exercise. Read something that strengthens your mind. Call somebody who genuinely loves you. Work on something that matters. Go to sleep without checking their profile. Wake up without searching for their name. Those little decisions don't look powerful, but they are. Because every time you choose yourself, you are teaching your mind that you are safe without them. And eventually, those small choices become a new life. I remember a simple lesson I once heard about pain. Pain is not always a sign that something is wrong. Sometimes pain is evidence that something is changing. When you exercise, your muscles hurt because they are adapting. When you grow emotionally, your heart hurts because you are releasing something you were attached to. And heartbreak can be a painful form of growth. It forces you to discover who you are when nobody is holding your hand. It forces you to discover what you believe, what you want, what you tolerate, what you will never tolerate again. And that knowledge is priceless. Maybe before this relationship, you didn't understand your boundaries. Now you do. Maybe you didn't know how much you were willing to sacrifice for somebody. Now you know. Maybe you ignored signs because you were afraid of losing them. Now you understand that losing yourself is far more expensive. That's growth. And don't let your heartbreak turn you bitter. That's another test. Because when someone hurts you, it is easy to say, I'll never trust again. But don't punish your future because of your past. The person who hurt you is not every person. The relationship that failed is not every relationship. One dishonest person does not mean everyone is dishonest. One person leaving does not mean everyone will leave. One heartbreak does not mean love is dangerous. You have to heal enough to separate the lesson from the wound. Take the lesson, leave the bitterness. Take the wisdom, leave the hatred. Take the boundaries, leave the fear. Because if you carry the pain into every future relationship, then your ex is still controlling your life even after they are gone. Don't give them that power. One day, you're going to meet someone who treats you differently, someone who communicates, someone who respects your heart, someone who doesn't make you constantly wonder where you stand. But before that happens, you have to become comfortable standing on your own, Because healthy love isn't two broken people begging each other to fill empty spaces. Healthy love is two whole people choosing to build something together. So don't rush. Take your time. Let yourself become whole. There is no deadline for healing. Nobody gets to tell you it's been long enough. You should be over it. You decide that. Maybe it takes weeks, maybe months, maybe longer. The goal isn't to heal quickly. The goal is to heal completely. And while you're healing, remember something important. You are not starting over. You are starting from experience. You know things now that you didn't know before. You understand yourself better. You understand relationships better. You understand what respect looks like. You understand what emotional consistency feels like. You understand what happens when you abandon your own needs to keep someone else happy. That knowledge will protect you in the future. So when the memories come back, don't fight them. Tell yourself, that was a chapter of my life. Not your entire life, a chapter. And chapters end. That's what makes books beautiful. If every chapter continued forever, there would be no story. Your heartbreak is a chapter. Your loneliness is a chapter. Your confusion is a chapter. Your rebuilding is a chapter. And there's another chapter waiting. You just haven't turned the page yet, so turn it. Not because you stopped caring, turn it because you started caring about yourself too. And if your ex has moved on, let them move. Don't chase somebody who has chosen another direction. Let them live their life. You live yours. Let them make their decisions. You make yours. Let them discover whatever they need to discover. You discover yourself. Because sometimes the greatest act of self-respect is releasing someone without needing them to understand why. You don't need one final conversation. You don't need one final explanation. You don't need one final chance. Sometimes the ending is simply the ending, and that's okay. You can close the door with tears in your eyes. You can walk away while still loving them. You can forgive someone without inviting them back. You can wish them well without wishing them back into your life. That's strength. And eventually the day will come when you wake up and realize something has changed. You didn't check their profile. You didn't wonder where they were. You didn't imagine them with someone else. You simply woke up and thought about your own life. And that morning will feel different because you will understand that you survived something you once believed would destroy you. You will look back at the person who cried over them and feel compassion. You'll say, I understand why you were hurting, but I'm glad you kept going. And that's what I want you to do now. Keep going. Not perfectly, not without tears, not without difficult nights, just keep going. Because there is still more life in you. There are still dreams waiting for you. There are still places you haven't seen, people you haven't met, lessons you haven't learned, memories you haven't created, and love you haven't experienced. Don't let one ending convince you that your story is over. It isn't. The person who left may have closed one door, but your life still has hundreds of doors you haven't opened yet. And perhaps the greatest surprise of your life is waiting behind one of them. Respect it. If your ex moved on and you feel like they took a piece of you with them, I want you to remember this one thing. They did not take your future. They took their place in your past. And there is a difference. You may have loved them with everything you had. You may have imagined growing old together. You may have believed that person was your forever. And when it ended, it may have felt like your entire future disappeared with them. But your future was never inside another person. Your future has always been inside you. So stop looking at what they have and measuring it against what you lost. Stop looking at their new relationship and deciding that you were not enough. Stop watching their life from a distance and forgetting to live your own. Their chapter is theirs. Your chapter is yours. And right now, your job is not to make them regret leaving. Your job is to make sure you never regret abandoning yourself. Take this pain and turn it into wisdom. Take the loneliness and turn it into strength. Take the rejection and turn it into self-respect. Take the ending and turn it into a beginning. Because one day you are going to look back and realize that the heartbreak you thought was destroying you was actually teaching you how to stand. You will realize that you didn't lose everything. You lost something that was no longer meant to remain. And in losing it, you found something far more important. You found yourself. So forgive yourself for the times you begged. Forgive yourself for the messages you sent. Forgive yourself for hoping too long. Forgive yourself for believing promises that didn't come true. You were not stupid. You were human. You loved. And now you are learning. That's what matters. Don't let somebody else's decision become the sentence you give yourself. You still have work to do. You still have dreams to chase. You still have a life to build. And there will come a morning when you don't wake up thinking about them anymore. Not because you forced yourself to forget, but because your own life became more interesting than your memories. Your goals became louder than your pain. Your peace became more valuable than your attachment. And your future became more important than your past. That is healing. Not forgetting, becoming. So if you're hurting right now, take one more breath. Get up, wash your face, put your feet on the floor, and tell yourself, this hurt me, but it will not define me. Then take one step. Tomorrow, take another, and keep walking. Because the best version of you is not behind you with your ex. The best version of you is ahead of you, waiting for you to become brave enough to meet them. And when you finally do, you will understand something beautiful. You didn't survive the heartbreak just to get over someone. You survived it to become someone stronger, someone wiser, someone more peaceful, someone who knows their worth, someone who no longer begs to be chosen because they have finally learned how to choose themselves. So let them move on. Let the past be the past. Let the door close and let your life begin again. Because your heart may have been broken, but your story is not. Your love may have ended, but your life did not. And this chapter may have crushed you. But it will not be the chapter that defines you. The next chapter will. Now go write it.